Project Typhoon is an action-adventure game set in a dystopian Earth. In Project Typhoon, the player must make their way through this world while defeating the alien enemies that lurk there. I'm Jay Roberts and I'm a level designer for Project Typhoon. For Project Typhoon, I am responsible for world design. This involves creating the levels and environments that the game takes place in, including sculpture and texturing, as well as importing assets and placing them appropriately in the game world. I am also responsible for a large amount of model texturing, particularly for building models.
Hi, I'm Bastien and I'm doing programming for Project Typhoon. Project Typhoon is an action game at the third-person view. For this project I made the fighting mechanics. Our player is using a raycast to attack the enemies with his sword. The enemies are also using different weapons in order to balance the difficulty of the game. To do the artificial intelligence of our enemy, I used the IA starter kit and I modified it to adapt it to game requirements. I made some events along the gameplay of the game, like the bridge moving up when the player passes through a trigger. I also did the spawning mechanics. We have multiple groups of enemies that are spawning automatically at different locations of the map. I also triggered the animation of our player and our enemies when they attack, die, and etc. And I've made the death screen of the game too.
I'm Rika, I'm programmer and animator for Project Typhoon.
For Project Typhoon, I created the object interaction so the player is able to walk up to an object, press the G key, and then if that object has the right class name, then it will interact in a certain way depending on what the class name is. So for example, if it's a weapon, when player walks up to it and picks it up, it'll mount that weapon and essentially change the weapon. The other thing I worked on was basically player collision, so when the player collides with an object, again if that's a special class name, then like collectible for example, it'll pick up that object and then add on to the player's collectible. Similar for health, so if the player walks through a health pack, then it'll pick up the health and add it to the player. For the project I also worked on animation. I animated the Scout and the Wanderer.
Hello, I'm Callum Cheshire and I am 3D modeler for Project Typhoon. For Project Typhoon, I did the model for the cathedral and I also modelled the interior and it's been textured. And I also worked on the clock tower, which has been textured as well. And I also made the pyramid and also textured that. And I made the Jeep, which has also been textured, and also made several small objects, which have been textured as well.
Hi, my name's Josh Riley and I worked on the audio.
The type of things my role required me to do was recording and editing sounds to be used in our games. All of the sounds in the game were created from scratch and edited according to the desired art style. For Project Typhoon, the audio was to follow a particular style to reflect the enemy designs and environments, which was to give an ominous sci-fi feel. These type of sounds were mainly used to represent the enemies for the player to fight.
Hi, I'm Matt Key and I'm 3D modeler for Project Typhoon. For Project Typhoon, my main goal was to basically make all the enemy characters for the game. We have I think about 5 roughly. The Odysseus, Scavenger, Scout, and the Overseer, and the Wanderer. All the texturing is roughly the same with like a carbon fiber look. However, each enemy has a different color, which just distinguishes a little bit more. The main theme with the enemies though was to keep them quite similar with a symbol that represented they were the enemies. So each had looks like an omega sign for basically their face. And like I said, each enemy has that on them in some shape or form. Worked on cottage that is in the zone 2. Basically it's just like an offset zone where you follow the path and you make your choices. It's going to be like collectibles there or something to find. Just like to have a little explore around the world because it's a really big zone for what it is. So we need to we had a lot of assets, so just needed to fill it. Again, in the same zone but a different path, there's a cemetery. Modelled and textured the gravestones there. And again, there may be an enemy trigger there or no more collectibles to find. Just have a look around basically. And then when it came to the final zone on the jumping puzzle, I modelled and textured the truck, which is the first one you jump onto.